song from the 1980s. Don't worry, be happy. And one of my favorite Bob Marley songs advises us, don't worry about a thing, because every little thing's gonna be all right. It seems like every time we go to a resort for vacation, or at least back pre-COVID, when we actually did go to resorts for vacation, we'd always find ourselves singing along with those songs multiple times a day. And when you're on vacation, that's great advice. Don't worry. Put things on hold and relax. But I think that in our day-to-day lives, don't worry is lousy advice. We need to worry. I'm going to give you an example. I have a friend who had a lovely home just outside of Atlanta. The area where she lived was a humble working class neighborhood when her grandfather had purchased the home many years before. But as so often happens in big cities, the area had gentrified. People were buying up these cute little craftsman bungalows, tearing them down and building these multi-million-dollar estates. Property values went crazy. Soon, my friend couldn't afford to pay the taxes on her house. She owned it free and clear, but she mortgaged the house just to pay the taxes. And I asked her, well, what are you going to do? This is not going to work out. And she said, you know what? I'm not going to worry. So 5 years and a couple of mortgages later, she lost the house to foreclosure. And I couldn't help thinking, if she had just taken the time to sit down and worry and figure out a solution to the worry, she wouldn't have had such a disastrous result. Now, granted, that's an extreme example. But my point is that refusing to worry can cause all kinds of problems. And we know this. You ever noticed your car making a funny noise and you thought, well, I'm just not going to worry about that right now. And then a month later, you wish you had when you end up beside the road? Worry is useful to us. Worry keeps your thoughts focused until you take care of the task at hand or get past whatever obstacles in your way. If you have a big project due at work, you need to worry. If you're in school and you got a test coming up, you better worry, said as a former teacher, of course. The key is that when you have a worry, you work through it, and it's different for everybody. Maybe it means completing a task. Maybe you need to journal. Maybe you need to talk to somebody and come up with a. The way you deal with the worry depends on, of course, who you are and what the worry is. There's not one right answer. But when you find yourself worrying, you need to listen to that. Listen to yourself. Now, I'm going to make a distinction here between worry and anxiety. And maybe because I've spent too much time in therapy, but worry and anxiety are two very different things, at least for me. Anxiety happens when you have a whole bunch of worries and you push them aside, kind of try to keep them out of your consciousness. Now, they're still there, just festering back in the background. And eventually, all those little tiny worries that you haven't addressed manifest themselves as anxiety. Anxiety happens when all of those worries move from being thoughts in your head to being physical symptoms in your body. I suffer from anxiety. I had anxiety attacks for years, and it can be crippling. Now, I know those of you who know me, and Jim kind of said this to me already, you're thinking, how in the world can this extrovert that we all know who makes a living speaking to audiences of strangers claim to have anxiety attacks? Again, it's not the same thing as worry. Talking to people doesn't worry me. I've been doing it all my adult life. I was a bartender. I was a high school teacher. Put me in front of a group of people, I can talk. That doesn't worry me, so it doesn't cause me anxiety. But on a day when I've had all these little worries, maybe for the last several days, and left things undone, when I've been too busy to address my worries and have shoved them aside instead of working through them, my mind becomes too full to handle one more thing. At those times, some tiny little incident, maybe I made a wrong turn and ended up on the wrong road momentarily. Maybe I forgot to fill the dog's water bowl. All of a sudden, that morphs into an anxiety attack. I feel like I can't breathe. My heart starts to race. I get dizzy. And invariably, I start to cry uncontrollably. Not because I got lost momentarily or because the dog is thirsty, but because my entire mind and body has gone into panic mode. By the time anxiety sets in, I can't even remember what the worries were. I'm just overwhelmed, sick, and unable to function. I often have to go to bed because I'm physically unwell. Over the years, I've been to the emergency room multiple times because I thought I was having a heart attack. It turned out to be anxiety. So, what have I learned from all this? Worry when you need to, and figure out what kinds of worries can build up on you. For me, it's uncertainty. On the one hand, I've always been kind of a free and easy, fly by the seat of your pants kind of person. On the other hand, I've always had a lot of anxiety. I got to kind of give Glenn credit for this one. When we met, as you know, we spent a lot of time kayaking. He always showed up with this printed out map of the river, starting points, ending points, all in front of him. He knew every turn, everything we'd face. He had a checklist of what he was going to take with him. And I thought, that's a bit much, all that planning. But he was always the calmest person I knew, and he still is. It took a while, it took years, as a matter of fact, but I suddenly realized that I could get rid of my anxiety by becoming a planner too. And it's been transformational for me. You want to know where we're going to be on the second Tuesday of September? Just ask me or him, because it's on our Google Calendar right now. You want to know what we're going to be having for dinner on Friday? Let me check the notes on my phone, because the menu is there. Now, that may not work for you, but that's what's worked for me. That planning helps me get rid of those small worries as they pop up. I don't get overwhelmed. I don't get anxiety. So I don't think that it's a matter of not worrying. You need to worry, but learn how you worry and make worrying work for you. Find your worry style, if you will, and figure out how to keep from having anxiety.
Hey,